sorry, this hair is just beyond me at this point. Today we are here to test Rare Beauty. You of course know this brand. It's been around for a minute, but it just recently launched in Europe, I think. I mean recently, it's been like a year. Also, more recently, they actually launched their displays at Sephora in Czech Republic. They were available here at the Sephora website, however, you couldn't really go to Sephora and check out the products for yourself. They had like this little PD stand with a couple products so you could check the formulas, but overall it was not a very good like representative sample of the things. So I'm very glad that I can show you today more stuff from Rare Beauty here, even though the majority of what I have I already bought somewhere else where they had the stand earlier. So we're going to be doing like all that I have from Rare Beauty today. I don't have a lot, but I do have enough to kind of form my opinion on the brand and on the stuff that they do. You probably know Rare Beauty. It's been launched by Selena Gomez, and it's a cruelty-free and vegan brand that is kind of focused on individuality. And overall, I kind of like the story behind the brand and everything they kind of stand for, because it's a very nice thought. The first product I have is not really a product, it's a sample. And it is the sample of their Always an Optimist primer, which came in this like little thing with different foundation shades. There was also the primer, so I thought might as well use that, because I did not purchase the primer. I didn't think it was necessary at the time. It is supposed to be like an illuminating and I even think hydrating primer. It is kind of like pearly. Wow, that's very illuminating. I have spontaneously decided to make a bun. I don't think I've used this one before. I did swatch it, and at the store I thought this is not hydrating enough for me, so I didn't think it's gonna be a good primer for myself, but overall it's not bad. It's very lightweight, it looks very shiny, and it is very shiny, but it's not like one of those heavy silicky primers that will be super oily on the skin. Not at all. This is actually very lightweight, but I'm not sure I'm all about this like very illuminated look. It doesn't feel hydrating, so I think for my face this would make my makeup separate in like a very short amount of time, because I don't feel hydrated at all. I do have the Liquid Touch. I think it's like a serum foundation. They don't even say on the Sephora website like what is this. I have the shade 130N. This is supposed to be like kind of a hybrid between skincare and makeup, and it's supposed to look very natural, be really breathable, but still provide you with like a medium coverage. You get 28 milliliters of product, and it has this lovely doe foot. I think it's okay. They always say to apply just a tiny bit, so I'm not gonna overdo it. And I actually have the Rare Beauty foundation brush, which I don't really like using for foundation, but I will do it for the sake of this video. The match looks a little bit better in real life than it looks on camera, I think. But overall, you can kind of see that it does look quite smooth and quite silky. There's a lot of redness around this area of my face that's just been there today. And like I don't mind this foundation, but it doesn't necessarily wear the best on me. So I find it kind of like slippery no matter which primer I use. But it does look nice. It looks very natural. It feels like nothing pretty much. It feels a little bit oily when you start spreading it out, but then once you're done blending it into your face, it's just kind of not there. It's just like this veil over your face that's just enough pigmented to give you like a nice light medium coverage. I think it's definitely buildable. I just don't enjoy building layers of foundation on my face. I can try add a little bit more over here because I do have like this weird spot there, and also I think that the coverage was a little bit lower on this side for some reason. Maybe I applied a little bit less. Okay, yeah, that definitely helped to cover that spot. You cannot really see it as much anymore. And overall, it feels very good on the skin. It's just not long lasting on me, which is fine. Not everything can be. That's my skin. Next up, we have the concealer, which is one that I actually really like. I also have the shade 130N, and this one has like this weird kind of squared doe foot, but I find it very easy to apply it with it, because you just kind of tap on the places where you really want the concealer to be. And there we go. I think that it is kind of like a highlighting shade by definition, which I do quite enjoy. As you can see, it definitely brightened up my under eyes and like the center of my face. It disappeared straight into the foundation. I really like using this concealer because it's very blendable and it meshes very well with other foundations. Also, it's pretty lightweight, so I do enjoy that quite a lot. And I actually do prefer using this brush for my concealer. It's just right, the perfect size. I really like that. That one has been like one of my probably most used concealers over like a couple months. You can see that I'm like kind of halfway down. And now let's continue with the base. I mostly have base products from them because I do like to try more and more base products as I live. Okay, this is the Warm Wishes this is the Warm Wishes bronzer stick in the shade Happy Soul. They have a lot of shades, but they literally had like 2 in Sephora. So I went and picked this one up. I think it's the darker one of the 2 they had. It's like the second lightest shade. And let's put it on. Okay, I'm just gonna apply it to the half of my face so you can see the difference. Okay, so on this side of my face, you can see the bronzer. Hopefully you can see it quite clearly. I'm gonna try look ahead. And you can see that over here and over here, it does look quite nicely bronzed. Over here I'm kind of pale. So it is a nice shade. It's a little bit warmer than what I usually go for, but I do find it very like easily blendable, but maybe a little bit almost too pigmented. If I compare it to some of my other bronzers, this one is kind of hard to work with because it's so freaking pigmented. There we go. I did go a little bit too far on my forehead, so I'm gonna try and salvage that with my foundation brush a little bit. So you can see it's very pigmented. It really bronzes well. Like some cream bronzers you have to kind of top off with a powder bronzer. With this one I don't find it very necessary, and I do quite enjoy the tone, but it is true that it's very pigmented and for my liking maybe a tiny bit too much. Next up we're going to go for a blush. I actually have 2 shades of their blushes now. I have the shade Bliss, which is the matte formula, and then I have the shade Encourage, which is like the dewy formula. So I'm kind of tempted to show you both because it's currently 10:30 p.m. and nobody cares what I do with my face. So I'm going to do half and half. I also have 2 lip products, so we can kind of mix and match those as well. Here's my clean palette. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Bliss. And I do not like applying these directly to my face because again, they're super pigmented. So I'm just gonna apply a tiny bit over here, like 1 doe foot of amount. And I kind of have to figure out how to apply these. Okay, I have 2 blush brushes here. I know that Bliss is a little bit more manageable, so I'm gonna use the larger stippling brush. This is how I prefer to use my blushes. So I'm just going to basically blend it into my brush a little bit and kind of continue on the palette until I feel like I've stamped off enough. And then I'm going to go in. So I'm gonna do this side with the Bliss. Okay, I'm gonna go quite heavy with the blush because I want you to see it. So hopefully you can see that Bliss is kind of like somewhere between like peachy and peachy pink, but it's very like light. It's kind of a pale shade, but it's perfect for me. Like I absolutely love it. Everybody was using the Joy blush. I swatched it in the store and I was like, no fucking way I'm using that. because that's just way too dark for me. I guess it can be manageable, but this just feels a lot more me. And the second one I got, I believe it's from like the newer set of shades, and it's in the shade Encourage. It's like a little bit more, almost like purple toned, I guess. Probably gonna see on the palette. So again, I'll just put a little bit down. It's a little bit more like kind of mauvey, almost like a warm plum mauve. I cannot even describe colors anymore. So again, I'm gonna go in and I'm going to blend it into my brush and kind of start stamping down and see what comes off. Yeah, so this one, you can clearly see it's a bit darker and it has like a way different tone. It's almost like this like purple toned nude. I don't know how to describe that, but I really like it. I liked it in the store as well. Here you can see the two shades side by side. You can clearly see that Bliss is a lot lighter, a lot more subtle, where the Encourage is a lot more like there. It's because I'm pale, of course. But I find them both very pretty. And they last very well and they blend very well. They're just super pigmented, so you should be careful when you apply them. Otherwise, it's gonna be a mess. I do have one of the highlighters or liquid luminizers. I have the shade Enchant, which is absolutely stunning. I didn't want to buy the highlighter, but the lady at Sephora in Spain just was totally blown away by it, so she showed me, and then I was completely blown away by it, so I had to get it, naturally. So I have this shade, and I think I'm going to just apply it over powder, because that's how I usually do it. It's just a very good formula. I mean, sure, we can try and apply it on one side. I'm going to apply it now, so we can kind of see if the powder tones it down a lot. So I'm gonna take this side, the side with the shade Bliss, and I'll just do like a couple dots. And I completely forgot which brush I used to use for this. So I think I'll just take my Mitchell highlighter brush and kind of go in town. I mean, can you see that? I think it shines so bright with this ring light that you won't be able to pick up the tone, but it's gorgeous. I like it. That's kind of it for now for the base. So I'm going to powder my face and I'm going to do my eyebrows, and I'll be right back. So for my under eyes, I use my Kiko Milano Mood Boost Perfecting Powder. This is one of my favorite powders for my under eyes. Then I set the rest of my face with the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Luminous Setting Powder. I really like this one because it kind of leaves the natural sheen to the skin and it doesn't look too dry and it wears really well for me. And then for my eyebrows, I use the Maybelline Tattoo Brow Lift Stick to give them a little bit of color. I have the shade Blonde, and then I set them a little bit with the 24-Hour Brow Setter from Benefit. So I kind of tried to keep it a little bit more glowy, a little bit more natural. Okay, here's the highlighter under powder. Still pretty visible. Maybe it's because I used a little bit more luminous powder. However, you can still definitely see that there's a highlighter on my face. And now let me just apply it on the powdered face. So I'll use this free space on my palette. And I'm going to work it into the same highlighter brush from Made by Mitchell. So I'm just gonna kind of swirl it around. And then I'll go ahead and use it on this side of my face. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'd like to go little by little with this one because it can be very intense once you build it up. And there we go. It's a little too intense. It kind of has a little bit of a tint, but you cannot really see it. You can't really see the glow though, so I'm gonna match that up on the other side. Yeah, so this is good. This is good mostly because you can apply it over powder and still achieve like a beautiful glow that's not gonna be wet. It sets really well, so it's not gonna move. It's just gonna be there, beautiful, beaming, quite blended into the skin. I don't think there's like a stripe going on either of the sides, and this shade in particular is stunning. So this is the complexion pretty much done. I like the way it looks. I think it's not like overly makeup-y. It's quite natural looking. It's just enough coverage to make you look even, not too much coverage to make you look like you have a mask going on. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with this. So I don't have any eyeshadow from Rare Beauty, so I'm just going to do like a very quick something and we'll look at the other eye products. There we go. This is so simple. I wouldn't even call these eyeshadow looks. On the side with the Bliss blush, I decided to go in with a little bit more of an orangey shade. I used this e.l.f. Bite-Size palette in the shade Orange Dreamsicle. And on this side, I decided to go a little bit more pink toned since we have the purpley pink blush. And I used the Catrice 5 in a Box mini eyeshadow palette in Soft Rose look. Now that we have this in 2 different tones, we can continue with something else. So I have the Rare Beauty Perfect Strokes Matte Liquid Eyeliner. This is one of the best eyeliners I've ever tried, but it's almost dried up. So I really hope it's going to do at least something. But I'm telling you, the giant tip on it, it looks very intimidating, but it's like the most precise thing I've ever used. It's so easy to work with. I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's dried up, but I hope you can kind of see that. First of all, this was very easy. Second of all, it's still very black, even though it's kind of half dry. Yeah, I'm trying to show off an empty eyeliner, oh my god. But I think the sole fact that I used it up kind of speaks for itself. I think this is one of the best liners I've ever used. I mean, I definitely think it's better than the tattoo liner from KVD. When it comes to the longevity, I think this works really well. It just does for me. And it doesn't like dry up and crumble, which is one of the best features of it, I think. And now let's continue with the mascara. So I do have a mini of their mascara because I've been recommended it some time ago. And also, I think it was in one of my favorites videos, which also kind of speaks for itself. So let me just apply that. So hopefully you can see some kind of difference. On this side I have the mascara, on this side I don't. It's lifting just enough, it's good for my sensitive eyes, and I do find it very easy to work with. So I do think it's a good mascara. It may not be the best in terms of the effect, but it's definitely up there in terms of how comfortable it is, how well it wears. That's it. That's the mascara applied. I do think it's quite good, but it's true that the longer I have it, the more messy it gets when I apply it, so kind of speaks for me though, not for the mascara. And now all we have to do is finish off with the lip. I do not have their setting spray, so sadly we cannot use that, but I do have 2 different lip products. I mean, technically it's one, I think. So I have the, what is it called? It's like a liquid lip balm, and I have 2 of them. This one is in the shade Nearly Neutral, and I got it as a gift. And this one is in the shade Nearly Mauve. So this one was in like a kit, and they're basically like a tinted lip balm that's in like a lip gloss packaging. So it does have a doe foot, it's quite easy to apply, and it's very comfortable on the lips. So I'm going to take the rosy side, apply the mauve one, and on this side I'll apply the neutral one. So as you can see, it's not the most pigmented tinted lip balm, but it's very comfortable on the lips. It's not too slippery. It's very balmy, but it looks quite nice. It's kind of shiny. This side is the brown one, which I think is a little bit more visible. It translates a little bit darker for some reason than the mauve one, which just kind of gives you like this purpley tint. And I usually use it when I need something for like a cool toned look. That's a good one from my perspective when it comes to lips. I do not have any of the lip soufflés or like the liquid lipsticks they have, which I'm kind of sorry for, but I kind of want one, but I cannot decide which shade I want because I don't really wear matte lipsticks right now. So let me just spray my face with my Catrice Clean ID spray. And now this is the finished look. So what do we think? I think this looks pretty nice, and I think it kind of represents the vibe the whole brand has, which I'm glad because I think this is a good representation of what I think these products look like the best. They kind of like your everyday, not too heavy, not too glam, not too much of a try hard kind of makeup. And I think we all need that sometimes. I do like the finished look a lot. I think this is very nice and super simple. And I think that's actually it. So if you want to grab any of the Rare Beauty things, I would say go for it. Because from what I've tried, I like the majority of the things. Maybe get a sample of the foundation before you actually get the whole thing, unlike me. Otherwise, I would say they quite surprised me. And I really like their product so far. So I cannot wait to try even more. I already have my eyes on the powder and some other things. So we will see in the future. And for now, thank you very much for watching. Consider subscribing. And if you want to see more videos of me trying out makeup, you can check out the playlist. See ya!